Hey, yeah, it should be live now. So, um, gotta be doing the new villager guide. Sorry if I sound a bit under the weather. It's kind of getting colder here, so probably have a bit of cold. But yeah, gonna be doing villager. I did a guide pretty long time ago, a couple of months. Um, so yeah, I figured I would update it. I said that I would like a month ago as well, and I kind of started a guide, and then I just didn't really like how it was turning out. So I thought I would try again today to do one, and hopefully it will be pretty good. So yeah, just wanted to update it. As I said, a few things that I didn't really like how I had said it, or just didn't think it was right. So I've been playing a lot of Villager just today, trying to kind of get some ideas for this guide. So yeah, hopefully it's a lot better than the last one. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. Yes, we are going to be playing on Town and City, just like this says, although that's not. Or I guess they're kind of connected somewhat, but um, yeah, just it shows a random character got Joker, so yeah, Villager for movement, you got somewhat decent speed. At least you can move around a lot better than like Incineroar or Robin, so you can maybe get some tech chases going, but that's not really too big of a deal for Villager. A lot of time, it's mainly going to be a focus on your projectiles, so yeah, I guess let's start with your aerials then, as they're going to have probably the two most useful projectiles, or like the ones that are going to use the most at least. It's going to be forward air and back air. So I guess let's start with them. So with forward air, this one's going to be that was back air there, and so is that. But forward air is going to be a lot faster coming out. It does slightly less damage, which isn't too big of a deal for Villager, but yeah, like as you can see, if I do back air, it does about 10.8 if I get the sweet spot. Or let me even try no sweet spot. So it did about 6, and then with forward air, it does about 4.8 in comparison. So yeah, just depending on the range at which you hit the projectiles, kind of changes their knockback. So if you're a bit closer, it's going to do about like 8.4 or so. There's a sweet spot at directly in front of Villager. It's going to have the most knockback, but even being at a mid-range gives you a decent amount of knockback. And then if you're a bit further away, then it's just going to give you no knockback, just some hits done and some damage. But yeah, this one's kind of important as you can still face forward, so it's a bit easier to perform as you're approaching someone if they're in disadvantage, or if you're just trying to maybe get out of disadvantage yourself and you just want to try to maintain a forward-facing direction as you're doing it. Then forward air is obviously going to be a lot easier to perform while facing forward. So yeah, doesn't really have too much use outside of that. I guess it's a bit easier to get a down throw fair going. So you can do like down throw into fair into like dash. Oh, that was not dash check. Down throw fair into dash check or something like that to kind of build up some damage. But yeah, fair is going to be pretty important, and then back air as well. I would say back air is going to be a lot better at lower percents, as it's just a lot easier to build up damage if you're using back air instead of fair. So it'll get you to mid percent pretty quickly, probably in about 5 or 6 hits. You'll get out about 30-ish% just from using back air. So yeah, then it's also better at higher percents for picking up kills. But I would say at about mid to low high percents, so like somewhere around like 70 if it's low high, I would say. So about 50 to 70 if you want to probably go for fair, as it's just a bit safer to move around with. And then you've got your neutral air. Oh, that was not neutral air. I was trying to fastball it afterwards, but yeah, neutral air can kind of be used to convert grabs like this, because it's just very fast and has very little landing lag. So do like a fastball fair into like a down throw forward air, or fastball nair into down throw forward air. It's also very fast out of shield, hitboxes all around you as you're kind of just spinning in a circle. So you're pretty protected. Obviously you can get beat out by like disjoints, as you're not really having a disjoint by neutral airing. But if someone's trying to pressure your shield, you can just do this pretty quickly, and it's not too easy to punish either because of just how fast it is. For knockback, it's not really going to have too much knockback, even at higher percentages. Like, you're not really going to be able to pick up any kills with this on stage or anything. But, as you can see, it can get you to have enough knockback to get people out of your face, which is a pretty important thing to do as villager, as most of the time you want to keep your distance. So we're trying to pick up a kill, I would say. So, yeah, now back to 0. I'm going to be looking at up air and down air. So up air and down air both have random amount of turns that go up. With up air, it's going to be facing upwards, so you can get juggles, or you can just hit people upwards to maybe pick up a kill off the top. But yeah, I mean, it has a small bit of combo potential on it, but it's not really going to be doing much unless you get all 3 turnips, as it is 1 to 3 turnips. So yeah, that's pretty much just a pretty easy way to build up some damage if you can manage to hit it, although not too easy to hit on shorter characters, the falling up air. And then it can lead into stuff like a down throw, fair, or something like that. With some of the heavier ones, it will be easier to perform. And then down air is pretty much the same thing, except it has a spike hitbox on the bottom, so it doesn't really launch upwards, it launches downwards, unless you get the non-spike hitbox, which is going to launch outwards to whatever side they get hit on. It's going to go to the opposite side. So if I hit Joker on his left side, he's going to go to the right, for example. But yeah, not too strong of a spike if you only get 1 turnip, but if you get all 3, then it's pretty powerful. You can see I'm getting pretty unlucky here with a few ones, but there we go, into a 2 into a 3. It does have a bit of combo potential with the spike hitbox. Pretty much every spike in the game, if you hit someone onto the ground, you can maybe bounce it up into like an up smash, or something like that if they're at a percent where they'll bounce off the ground. As you can see, Joker kind of just bounces into the ground. Although if he were to bounce off the ground, you could potentially get something like an up smash or an up tilt to build up some damage. But yeah, what I've found is that up air usually gets better turnips, although could be I just use up air a lot less personally, as most of the time I don't really have people landing on me that I'm going to punish with up air. I'll use like up tilt instead. It's mostly just used for whenever you're in the air and someone's above you, but most of the time that that's happening for me, I'm probably in up special or I'm recovering using like fair or something, so not really using up air too often. But yeah, now into tilts. Got down tilt, forward tilt, and up tilt as your tilts, and then I guess I'll cover dash attack here as well, and jab, as you don't really classify as smash attacks or tilts, so yeah, with your tilts, you've got down tilt. Down tilt's pretty useful for just knocking someone up like that and then getting a throw. You can also get like a fair or back air at certain percents, but yeah, most of the time I'm going to be using down throw for that. It's pretty much just a pretty fast option for if someone's directly in front of you, or they don't even really have to be directly, it does have a bit of range on it, but it hits pretty low and has a decent amount of knockback. Not going to be too useful for trying to kill someone on just like Final Destination like this stage, as you can see. It doesn't launch all the way up to the top blast zone or anything, but it's still going to be a pretty fast move for you to use. Although it is kind of risky to use it if you do miss it. It does leave you open for a bit, so some of your more useful tilts are going to be forward tilt and up tilt. Up tilt's a pretty strong anti-air, and then it can also lead into some juggles with up air, or maybe you can like land a fair off of it or something. But as you can see, it's pretty powerful knockback wise. Obviously he's at 120-ish%, but even at lower percents you can see kind of does a bit more than down tilt did, with like combo potential and things like that. But yeah, pretty solid anti-air just due to the fact that it stays active for a bit, like it waits until both the hits are done, so you can catch people trying to jump above you. Obviously down tilt can't do that because its hitbox is too low, but it's a bit stronger than something like up air or up smash, just due to the fact that it's a lot safer to throw out as well. And then you have forward tilt, which is pretty much just going to be your get away from me option most of the time. If someone's like directly in front of you, it can also be used to hit people slightly off stage. That's not forward tilt there, but you can see the umbrella, just pretty much useful for just knocking people away from you. You can potentially pick up a stock like that, although I wouldn't really recommend going for stuff like that all the time. But yeah, pretty useful for like spacing if you're trying to get out of the range of your opponent. As you can see, it's at about like 10-ish% before I hit him, and he went pretty far off stage. So that can allow you to run back and start zoning again if you're zoning with Villager, or if you're playing aggressively, that can allow you to get them off stage and into pretty tough disadvantage, and then you can start to edge guard them. Not to say that down tilt's not that useful. I know that I didn't really talk about it very long, but down tilt still has its uses. It's just that forward tilt and up tilt, in my opinion, are a lot stronger tilts for Villager. But yeah, now we've got dash attack and jab, so I'm going to be going over dash attack first. Dash attack is a projectile, though it might not look like it. You kind of just like run directly into someone. That hit's not really a projectile there, but the actual pod that is being thrown is a projectile, so it can be reflected or pocketed, so it behaves pretty much like any physical projectile. The good thing about it is it hits at a pretty unique angle for Villager, so that can allow you to maybe catch someone that's recovering pretty far away from the stage. Like as you can see, if Joker wouldn't have had invincibility there, it would have hit him out of his up special and then knocked him pretty far off stage. It doesn't have like way strong knockback or anything, but still something that can be pretty threatening off stage. And it's something that's not like forward smash or forward air with its angle. It travels at like a mid angle for a few seconds and then it starts to kind of fall. So it can be used to snipe people that are recovering like at 45-degree angle toward the stage from the bottom. And stuff like fair and back air can be used to hit people from mid or high as well. But I did forget to mention its edge guarding usefulness. Especially like the strong hit for them as well are really useful just due to how much knockback they have. So with your specials, or I guess I'll cover jab real fast and then I'll do specials. So with jab, just a bunch of hits. This is just me tapping A. You can pretty much just tap A for as long as you want and then get the final hit. You can't keep people there forever, obviously they can SDI out or what have you, but yeah, you can also just hold down A to get in hits, but just make sure to release it before they get out. 6 or so hits should be fine and gets you a decent amount of percent. It's pretty fast on its release, and it's not too punishable or anything if you just get like 1 jab or 2 jabs out there. If you start doing like this, obviously, then it has a bit more lag, but just getting like 1 or 2 jabs just to see how your enemy's going to react. If you're there like right next to you, then you might be able to get something like a jab and a down throw if they're not really expecting it and they're trying to like SDI out. You might want to do like a dash grab after that, so that way you can potentially start getting in some forward airs or getting some space with them. Maybe even picking up a kill at higher percents with back throw. But yeah, another use for jab is just as a kill move. It's not too particularly strong. It's not like Bowser Jr. or Little Max jab or anything, but it still is pretty powerful, so it can pick up a kill at a pretty reasonable percent for a jab, so on most characters, so yeah. And then yeah, you do have to watch out for Tough Guy and stuff like that, where people might be able to get out, so like Shulk's Monado might be able to, or not Monado, but his arts might allow him to be able to escape it, as he can escape a lot of combos that are normally frame perfect and things like that. So, yeah, now into your specials. Pretty much all of these are useful in every game except for neutral special, as there's a lot of characters that do have projectiles, just not everyone does. Well, it is true that neutral special does have invincibility on Villager, which can allow you to dodge certain moves. It doesn't cover his whole body, in case you're wondering. It does cover most of them, but as you can see, like his hands back there, it's not really covered. It can just allow you to get maybe a projectile or so. But yeah, let me just get back here to normal. So, so as you can see, I'll just count the invincibility frames here. So, so yeah, about. So about like 18 or so frames of invincibility. I probably miscounted that, but if I just had to guess, I would say that. So I believe that it's a bit more than Isabelle, because whenever I tested Isabelle, hers was pretty much just like the front of her body, whereas Villager has a bit more invincibility. Obviously that does include in the air as well. Specials aren't really affected, or at least most specials aren't affected by whether you're airborne or on the ground. So you can maybe dodge some moves, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it, as if you miss it, you're kind of left out in the open for a few frames where you do that shrug animation. But yeah, most of the time you want to be pocketing projectiles that don't really have a hitbox similar to the ones that you have. So a lot of your hitbox or your projectiles are going to travel at a horizontal angle, but you might want to get something like Isabelle's Sword Rocket that travels upward to maybe help with anti-air. Or you might want to be going for something that has a lot of knockback. While your tree does have a lot of knockback, and your bowling ball as well, because they're both projectiles, it's just that something like Samus's charge shot is going to have a lot of knockback, and it's also going to be increased by the fact that it's pocketed. That allows it to do a bit more damage and knockback, kind of like if you reflect a projectile. It pretty much has the exact same effect. And then for characters like King K. Rool, if you pocket his crown, he actually cannot use the crown. So that's just a move that he no longer has access to until he loses his stock, or you lose your stock and then you lose the crown, as he will lose the projectile that you have pocketed. You can also pocket any items as well, so if you're playing a more casual rule set, or if you're playing against someone who can spawn items, like Peach for example, who can spawn like a bomb, you can pick up that item, and then that can allow you to have two items at once. Villager himself can actually spawn an item with the tree, but that's kind of just an example. As you can see, I have two like motion detecting bombs on me, just from that, and then you can just pull out the other one, and then you can have two motion detecting items at once, pretty much. So it can kind of give you a bit of an advantage over people in a casual rule sets, because you can pocket something like an assist trophy. Just get a random assist trophy here. You can pocket it, and then you can maybe have like a metal box that you get or something, and then become metal, and then get the assist trophy out, so that way you don't really have to worry about the knockback. But yeah, that's just an example for like a casual rule set, although, yeah, back to competitive Villager. With your down special, go over that next. You have three different ones. You kind of have the planting animation, and then the water, and then the tree with the axe. So it has a few different properties, and you can kind of see a lot of stuff happening there. So, yeah, I guess let's go over it. So, with the first move, it's going to be a plant. You cannot plant any trees while you're in the air, so let me just cut this down really quickly. Can't plant while you're in the air. As you can see, you'll get this animation. Doesn't have invincibility or anything, so you're kind of open to attack if you do it. So be aware of that. You can only plant whenever you're on the ground or on a platform. So yeah, that can allow you to get a tree, and then whenever the tree is planted, it does have a hitbox. So let me try to show that here. Although it's kind of hard to do due to the one box of the water, which is something else I was going to talk about. So let me actually just chop down this tree. So if you have a planted tree that's just a sapling, as you can see, the water has a bit of a one box that you can use to push people away that are trying to recover. Kind of like Mario's Flood, although it's not too strong of a one box or anything, but it can still be used to gimp some characters' recoveries. As you can see, the tree disappeared there, so I wasn't able to get the one box to push Joker back. But yeah, as long as it's in this form, you can water. And so that can be used to push people away from you if you're trying to plant the tree. And then whenever the tree is actually planted, it does have a hitbox for whenever it's coming out of the ground. So let me try to push Joker like about here, so that way he gets hit by the tree whenever it's being planted. So yeah, as you can see, it does a decent amount of percent. It also has a pretty strong amount of knockback that can kill at pretty reasonable percents. Oh, hey Boreg. But yeah, or Egg Boy, sorry. But yeah, the tree can kill just by growing, or you can actually kill with the projectile hit of the tree, that hit there, and then it spawns wood blocks sometimes, sorry. But yeah, you have this tree hit that's pretty strong. A lot of people just plant trees everywhere and then just try to hit people with this hit and try to focus on it by like hitting both sides and then, you know, rolling around and stuff. I would really focus on just trying to hit people with the tree. I'll show you what I do with the tree most of the time. That's probably like the best thing to do, but for another hit you get out of this part of the down special, you get this axe, and this axe is pretty strong. Very effective for edge guarding, has a ton of knockback and damage. You can see there, I was able to kill Joker at about 60% off stage just using the axe. And you can use the axe even while the tree is disappearing, as the tree will start to disappear over time. You can use the axe as long as the tree is on screen, but as soon as it's vanished from existence, then the axe is gone, so you can use it to get some hits. As you can see, the tree is starting to disappear, and then as soon as it's gone, you get a sapling. But yeah, now for the other part of this part of the down special is going to be the wood block that spawns. So wood block doesn't always spawn, but it is just a pretty simple item, kind of like a turnip. You can throw it forward, you can see drop it. Offers a bit of knockback and damage, but it's not too strong. Mainly just used for gimping or potentially starting combos, but even then its knockback isn't really strong enough to push you, or to push your opponent into like an up tilt or anything. So it's not going to have too much combo potential. But yeah, random chance that it spawns. It can also hit people while it's falling off the tree for a bit more damage, but yeah, pretty much as soon as this thing hits the ground, it disappears. So you make sure to like re-catch it if you're trying to use it a lot, or in a pocket if you want to save it for later. But yeah, the tree can also drop an apple, although that's pretty rare for it to happen. It hasn't happened this stream at all, so I'll try it a few more times. And then you can eat the apple, pretty much just similar to Game & Watch's down or side special when the apples spawn. But yeah, you can even have two wood blocks on screen like this, so even with the other one pocketed and everything, so yeah, they'll disappear as soon as they've been picked up and dropped again, but they'll stay on the ground for a bit of time. So you can pick it up if you're trying to fight someone and still want to get it. But yeah, the best spot to place the tree, I would say, is at the ledge. If you place the tree like about here, or maybe even closer to the ledge, whenever you're planting it, you can get a windbox effects to block some recoveries. If people are getting a neutral get up or an aggressive get up, which is like an attack while they're getting up, then you can perhaps catch people trying to jump. But yeah, you can also catch people if they're like about up here and then they get caught by the hitbox of the tree while it's growing. But while it's already grown, as you can see, it kind of pushes you off of the ledge, so if you're not Villager most of the time, you're just going to be pushed off the ledge. Villager has a pretty small hitbox, but if you're like Bowser or somebody, he's going to just keep pushing you off the stage, so you can just keep people kind of trapped off of the ledge for a bit, unless they can like recover underneath the stage, or if they just like jump over it, they can do that, or roll underneath it. But if they're just trying to do a neutral get up, you can kind of block them there for a bit, and then you also get the axe hits as well, which is going to be the best thing out of the tree in my opinion, is the axe, as it's pretty much like a forward smash that you can use off stage. Obviously your forward smash does have like a hitbox that goes off stage as it is a projectile, the bowling ball, but the axe is going to just be a lot safer to use because you don't have to worry about them being directly underneath it for it to work. You have to be right next to them for it to work, so you can like approach him and then hit them with it. Although, can't get the tree to last forever or anything to kind of show its style. It'll just look like I'm trying to plant a tree in the air. But yeah, imagine the axe is there, I guess. And it doesn't really have too much in lag or anything. And it actually does a decent amount of shield damage as well. Can't really show that as I don't have my other controller with me at the moment. I have to use Joy-Cons, but yeah. That's pretty much it for down special. With up special, goes pretty far, can allow you to recover underneath the stage. Although if you use it a lot, then it will become weaker, very similar to Olimar's. It was actually first introduced with Villager, and then Olimar got a similar mechanic, and I believe patch 3.1 was the patch that they changed that. So, yeah, technically Villager had it first, but pretty much behaves the same way, just punishes you for using it too much on stage, and like, just flying away from your enemy, basically, and camping them out like that, as nobody really wants to play against that. But yeah, it's not something you really have to worry about whenever you're recovering off stage. You can pretty much recover off stage perfectly fine. If your balloons are popped off stage and you're not hit, then you do have like a bit of a bounce effect that happens whenever the balloons pop. As you can see, it'll kind of pop up, so you can maybe, because you can still move around and you'll maintain pretty much your vertical height, but you can change your horizontal to get you closer to the ledge, so you can maybe recover. But if you're all the way like down here or something and that happens to you, then you're pretty much just dead. So, yeah. It pretty much has that same effect, except the balloons just aren't there, because they've been popped. But, yeah, it's not too big of an issue, whenever you're recovering or anything, so. Yeah, then you've got slide special as well. But yeah, Villager doesn't really have too great of combos at lower percents, as you're saying, but, he can kind of zone out pretty easily at that percent, just due to how his, slingshots work. They have a pretty good amount of hit stun from a decent distance, so that can allow you to, do some damage. Like, if you're about here, it'll have, knockback. And it's not even, like, the sweet spot or anything, so. But you do have, like, down throw fair at lower percents, and it gets the sweet spot, so that can lead into an edge card, but, outside of that, you don't really have much for combos. But yeah, for a slide special, I like to use it to lead in an approach like that, so you can do something like a slide special into a down throw fair, as your opponent kind of has to do something about slide special unless they have a reflector, or I guess they still have to reflect it. But once slide special's on stage and it's facing them, it kind of changes how they have to think, as they have to figure out some way to deal with the slide special in a way that prevents them from getting hit, and also puts you in a position to where you can't punish them for throwing out that option. So, a lot of people are going to shield, which you might think that will get you a grab, but most of the time they're going to spot dodge as soon as you're next to them. So, if you do plan on going for a grab, make sure that you're running faster than the rocket, and let you get a head start, so that way if they do spot dodge, then the rocket will punish them, and you'll have less of a chance of being punished. But other options include if they like jump out of it, you can hit them with like an anti-air up tilt, and then not many people will just like directly spot dodge it or anything, so that's not really something you have to worry about too much. But most people are either going to jump out of the way or they're going to shield it into like a spot dodge to try to think that you've got a bait going, so it'll kind of be like a bait on you instead of you baiting them. But just realize that most of the time they are going to do that, so try to think of a counterplay to what they're doing. And then you can also use it to condition them and see what options they're going to throw out whenever you are trying to approach them. As if you're planning on using a lot of fairs and back airs, which most villagers are, you can see how they react to the Lloid Rocket to see how they would react to your fairs and back airs. And then you can also do like a short hop Lloid Rocket. That wasn't really a short hop, but short hop Lloid Rocket to kind of hit them in the head, so that way if they do jump, it might hit them while they're going up. Although, that could allow them to crouch underneath it, so that would be a whole nother thing. But it also has one more use in its ability to allow you to recover. You can jump off of it at any time, although you will be in special fall if you do jump off of it, so you can't really jump off of it and get back to stage with an up special. But you can use it for something like that, so if you do run into someone, then you can up special out of it as well, although you do lose your jump, so even if you hadn't jumped before. As you can see, I tried to jump there, but nothing happened. So it doesn't really matter how many times you jump, as long as you hit someone, you will still be unable to jump, or if you don't hit someone, you will still be unable to jump. But yeah, once it's out, you can't remotely detonate it or anything. It has to travel its full distance before detonating. It will get slightly lower as it goes on, and it will also slow down. It'll slow down whenever it's at the end of its destination, or like the end of the line. As you can see, it starts to slow down a bit, and then it will explode on its own. But it can travel pretty much the full length of the stage, so. And it will also start falling a bit, so you can hit people from across the stage like that as well. But yeah, I'm not trying to jump onto the rocket, I'm just trying to show the ending animation. So, as you can see, it'll just fall and then explode. So it goes pretty far, actually, because I was from a full hop it got to about the ledge. So you can maybe even use that to ledge trap from the other side of the stage if you're at a higher percent. Or if your opponent's at a higher percent and you've knocked them pretty far off stage, but they're still living and they're on the other side of the stage, you can throw out that and then potentially get them as they're trying to grab the ledge. So yeah, it does have use for an edge guard as well. It's pretty powerful, damage and knockback wise. It does about 8.4%, and then its knockback, as you can see, even at 0%, it's pretty strong, knocking them all the way to about the other side of flowers there. So obviously, at higher percent, it's going to do a lot more. But its main use is just you can use it to get grabs. Like the main damage of it comes from getting grabs and like down throw fair. As you can see, that did about 20.4% just off of grab into down throw fair with the Lloyd Rocket there. So yeah, even though that wasn't entirely true, if you do it at lower percents, it will be true. That's pretty much it for Lloyd Rocket. So now into your smash attacks, you've got up smash, down smash, and forward smash. So we're going to be talking about down smash first. Down smash has a berry effect for the sweet spot. If you do hit the sour spot, it's still going to be doing some damage and stuff. Although it'll just send them away. Or I guess it's not really a sour spot, but like if you hit them while they're already in the ground or something, or while they still have a bit of berry hit stun or like berry invincibility, then you won't be able to connect it, or yeah, you won't be able to connect it. So as you can see, you could use it to build up some damage by just spamming it, but it's not that effective of a strategy. Really, if you do land it, you do want to do it into something like forward smash, and it's pretty fast as well. So I would say it's kind of just like a better alternative to down tilt, although it is a bit laggy, as it does have 2 hits, so it is riskier than down tilt, but its reward is a lot better as you can use it to berry into like a forward smash, for example. Although that doesn't really work at lower percents, so they can mash out a lot easier, but at higher percents it might be a bit better. Then you have like your forward smash and up smash. So with up smash, you've got the firework rocket. It is a multi-hit. It has a bit of trouble connecting all the hits sometimes, but if you hit someone while they're on the ground, most of the time it will be able to hit them with all of the hits. So although if it's in the air, it's a bit sketchier. You can do like down throw into up smash sometimes. Kind of just varies, but it's not true. And then you can also do like down tilt into up smash as well. Also not true, but still a pretty effective way to land an up smash. Or I think I said up tilt, but it's up smash. But yeah, with forward smash, you have the bowling ball. It's not too strong of a forward smash damage-wise, but knockback-wise, it's pretty strong. Even at lower percents, as you can see there. Really good for punishing tethers, although Joker's going to be recovering pretty close to the stage here, if I had to guess, because I kind of tell that I've been bowling. But yeah, as you can see there, it's really good for punishing people that like to recover about right here, or if they have a tether, because that'll pretty much instantly send them to right here. So as soon as you see that tether connect, then you want to release the bowling ball when they're about like here, with the tether animation, unless they're down here already, and then you just want to get to the bowling ball as quickly as possible. A lot of up specials will be able to trade with it, and then some even have super armor through it, like Ike's up special or Chrome's will be able to super armor through it, but characters like Ridley can just trade with it. Ran into that issue earlier when I was trying to edgeguard people to up smash. So you might want to use the tree instead in this position. But the good thing about forward smash is just it's a lot faster to activate. And you can also use it on platforms as well, pretty easily. Whereas the tree, you have to get the plant and then the water, and then you have to chop it down and everything, so it takes a bit of time, but it'll get you better results, I would say. But the forward smash is so much faster that even though it'll get you worse results, it's still going to be a lot more effective just due to the fact of its speed. And then with Joker having Arsene and Rebel's Guard, I'm not really going to be able to gimp him here with the bowling ball. But yeah, one thing I like to do to bait a bowling ball edgeguard is to jump whenever they're above the stage. So if you down tilt someone, it's really good for starting this bait. It's probably like the main use of down tilt, I would say, is to try to bait Joker or just your opponent into getting a forward smash score. So this works at about 80% really, but I'm gonna do it at about 60. So I'm gonna wait for Joker to lose Arsene, as I can't really edge guard him with the bowling ball with Arsene. And the CPU is probably not gonna fall for the bait, but most people are definitely going to be falling for this. So first you want to down tilt and then jump. As soon as you jump, they'll most likely throw out an air dodge. Unless they know what you're trying to do, and then they'll just try to hit you out of it. But if they do air dodge, because they're at like a pretty high percent or something, and they think that you're going to edge guard them, maybe even do some like fake edge guards to kind of condition them into thinking, oh yeah, he's just going to try to hit me with like a forward air whenever he jumps off stage, so I better just air dodge here. Then you can just jump immediately fastball into like a forward smash, or maybe even charging it, allowing them to get into position. Because then they are probably at about here, so they'll be underneath the stage at some point. Some characters can get to about here, maybe like Pikachu, for example, would be able to just recover all the way underneath the stage, Villager as well. So they wouldn't really be affected by it, but a lot of characters like Mario or Dr. Mario, for example, Luigi maybe will be affected by this. So if they are in that position, then you can just forward smash them, as they'll be pretty vulnerable after air dodging due to the lag. It pretty much only works if they directional air dodge as well. You can get it if they do a neutral air dodge, although that one has a lot less lag, so it's going to be a bit harder for you to be able to punish a neutral air dodge, but with a directional air dodge it has so much more lag that it's very easy to punish it. They can still move while the directional air dodge lag is in effect, so you do have to watch out for that, but most of the time you will be able to land a forward smash if they do that. You will not have enough time to fully plant a tree, though, with the directional air dodge lag, unless it's like Ness, but even then, his air dodge is pretty long, is why I say that, but even then, you might be able to get it to, like, this part of it, but you won't be able to chop down the full thing. So yeah, that pretty much covers, all of the main moveset, I would say. So you got aerials, jab, dash attack, forward smash, and tilt, or not forward smash, but your smash attacks and tilts. So, now for throws, got down throw, it's going to be your main combo throw. Kind of just a throw that you probably do the most outside of maybe back throw, as it is a kill throw. But I would say down throw is probably going to be the one that happens the most just due to the combo potential, as you can do down throw forward air or back air. At lower percents, you could maybe do like down throw neutral air as well. Maybe not true though. And then your grab actually has a pretty good amount of range with the net, so you can pretty much just grab anyone from a pretty solid distance and not have to worry too much about being punished if you do a standing grab. But with a dash grab, it's a bit laggier, so you do have to watch out for that. You can also, I believe, pocket items with this. I'm not too sure, as I don't really play with items that much. Yeah, you can pocket items just by using the fishing net as well, so maybe if you don't just want to hit B, because you can also just hit B while the item's on the ground to pocket it, or if it's in your hand as well. But yeah, let me just spawn like the Steel Diver, for example, so let me just go ahead and throw that. It's okay that I went to the blast zone, but as you can see, you can pocket it on the ground. But same thing with the fishing net, you can pocket any item, so you can pocket like a turnip that's on the ground or something as well. You can pocket the little piece of wood that falls off the trees. Didn't fall off there, but it's just a random chance if it does or not, but yeah, you can pocket that as well. Yeah, it fell off that time, so you can just grab it with the net as long as someone's not right there, because it will prioritize them, obviously. But yeah, your pummel does a decent amount of damage with its speed, so you can kind of get a pummel hit maybe before you do the down throw. Just if you're playing with someone that can mash really well, or if they can tell that you're trying to grab them and be able to mash out of it quickly. So, yeah, you have that. Then you have forward throw. Not too particularly useful. It does have pretty much just a set amount of distance that it's going to be launching your opponent, so it does have that advantage, because you can just practice with this and then know how it's going to work pretty much every time. But back throw's going to be the most useful one. It is a kill throw. It's really good for creating tech chases at lower percents, I would say. A lot better than forward throw, just due to the fact that forward throw sends them pretty much all the way across the stage, so you're not really going to be able to get someone if they're all the way across the stage as Villager, just due to him being a bit of a slower character, or like average speed, I would say. But yeah, it's not really going to be too useful for Villager to tech chase, as I said earlier, but back throw is going to be the main method, I would say, that could start it. And then up throw is mainly just going to be used for getting juggles started, so like you can do up throw, up air. But yeah, with your advantage, disadvantage, and neutral, for most time in neutral, you just want to try and get as much aim as you can without being too close to your opponent and reading what options they're doing as they're reacting to the projectiles that you're throwing at them. So maybe throw in a few Void Rockets if you're trying to approach, or as well as some forward airs and stuff, although you don't completely miss the forward airs like I've been doing. I would say that's pretty solid advice there, but yeah, maybe land in with some forward airs or back airs as you're approaching, just to build up some damage. You can even combo it or combo off the Void Rocket hit like that. Reading what option they're doing will allow you to be able to have a pretty strong advantage over them, as if you can tell what option they're doing in neutral, that leads into advantage. That's pretty much the main reason that neutral is probably like the most important state. It's just that's where you learn how to take control of your opponent, and advantage is you learn their habits in neutral, and then you can use that to your advantage in advantage. But yeah, for advantage, obviously, as I said, you want to be looking at your opponent's habits. I would say not to use the same edge guard twice if you can. Obviously, the bowling ball, unique edge guard, so it's going to be used a lot. A lot of villagers like to use it a lot, so that's a very common thing, so a lot of people know how to react to it and how to play against it. But try to mix it up with some dash attacks or some forward airs and Void Rockets and things like that. Try to punish high recoveries as well. Don't just get focused on low and mid recoveries with the bowling ball. But yeah, maybe throw out a Void Rocket or something to prevent them from recovering mid, so then they have to either recover high or low, and then just see what option they're going to choose and then punish accordingly. And don't be afraid to go off stage either. Going off stage is probably better at higher percents, like when your opponent's at a higher percent, I mean. Whenever you're at a higher percent, staying on stage would probably be the most effective, due to Villager being like a midweight. So, yeah, staying on stage is pretty important. But whenever you're at a lower percent and they're at a higher percent, or if they're just at a higher percent in general, getting a forward air or back air will get you a pretty easy stock just for being right next to them and landing it. And then if you miss it, it's pretty hard for them to punish you, and it could just result in them getting some hits done. So maybe you could mess up them recovering, because they might try to up special and you hit them out of their up special. But as you can see there, I was able to get Joker pretty easily with a few back airs. And then for disadvantage, you mainly just want to try to be getting the sweet spot of forward air and back air, or some forward tilts, just something to get them away from you. Forward tilt and forward air, I would say, are probably the most important. That's forward air there. Or that was technically back air, but forward air pretty much has the same effect, so doing something like this will definitely get them away from you vertically, but if they're pressing you or get them away from you horizontally, but if they're pressing you vertically, then just try to get in some up tilts or up airs. Don't really go for up smash, unless it's an out of shield option, I would say, as it's not too useful for people that are trying to land directly on you. Up air and up tilts are going to be the most effective ones for that. And then if people are at a pretty good distance to you, but they still have the percent lead over you, then just try to get in some Void Rockets and things like that to build up the percent on them. So yeah, that's going to be it for this guide. Sorry that it was a bit longer than the last one, but I did just want to update everything. I'm gonna try to get a thumbnail here, so yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for now. I will not be streaming tomorrow, most likely, in case you're wondering. Just be busy, but I will be trying to stream Saturday and Sunday to make up for it. So, yeah, I guess I'll see everyone in the next